Oh, you didn't know? Welcome back to another episode of LTS Wrestling Podcast. It's me, it's me. It's that NICC, and it's just me and Jojo today. What's going on, brother?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
How's everything on your end, my brother?
It's been busy, bro. It's been busy.
Life is lifing.
Life is lifing. Adulting is adulting, man.
Yes, sir. All right. So, welcome everybody to another episode, and we are here to talk about Backlash and do a little rundown, little recap on Raw as well. I think it's worth kind of noting here before we even do anything. Wrestling World lost a legend, a hardcore legend. Good old Sabu, probably most notable during his time in ECW. Did a lot of work in the Indies post that, and yeah, man, like that, it was kind of like a damper over the weekend, like hearing his loss, especially because he just, wrestled his last match, his retirement match.
It was
If I'm not
brutal,
mistaken.
too.
Yeah, that guy's like a true hardcore legend, and like not to sound like a broken record, but dude's literally a pioneer of pro wrestling. He's probably created a style of wrestling that you can see a lot of people these days typically follow. So, rest in peace, Sabu, to the legend, doing some flips and tripping on barbed wire up there in heaven.
Yes, sir.
Somewhere with the rest of them hardcores, I'm sure with like Terry Funk and such.
Yep.
But nonetheless, we're off the heels of WWE Backlash. So we actually had a little prediction show as well regarding this PLE. But we're going to go down the list here of the card. So I believe it kicked off with the United States title championship with a fatal four-way amongst the champion Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, and Damian Priest. So kind of expected, Jacob Fatu won, regained the title, and it was a cool, fun match. I think especially because it was like first match on the card, got everybody started, got going pretty good. I think the thing I want to show really talk about here is how the result came out, right? And I think this was kind of a big surprise for all of us because I know
It
there
was.
anticipated rumors of somebody debuting, and I had no idea that he was actually going to be debuting at this match. And who are we talking about here? Good old Jeff Cobb.
Jeff
So,
Cobb.
yeah. So
Local
shout out
island boy.
Island Boy, Filipino, Pinoy. He's a little OG, but at the same time, I'm glad to finally see him in the WWE. Dude is a beast in his own right. To see him show up here assisting Jacob Fatu and Solo Sokoa to regain his title. That is an interesting thing to see here, just because it almost seemed like the Bloodline 2.0 faction started to kind of diminish a bit here. I understandably so that Tama Tonga and Tongaloa are currently on the shelf, but here we go. We have another addition to this group. But nonetheless, what are your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, dude, you know what? I wasn't surprised that Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre took each other out. Not the way I thought it was gonna go, but yeah, they definitely. I knew they were gonna keep the feud alive. Dude, the ending, that was crazy, and just the stare down. You know what I mean? This like Jacob Fatu gave two different stares. One was we have history together, and the other was the look of confusion and disappointment to Solo. Like
what the fuck
yeah,
are you
yeah,
doing
yeah.
here?
That's it. That's the exact bro. That is the exact look he gave Solo, and then Solo's like, "Yep, there's your win. Go get it, go get it." And it was just for Jacob. That's not a range of facial expressions I thought he'd ever show this early in his career. I thought he'd be sticking to his, like craziness all the way through. But just that little segment alone of when Cobb and Solo was right there, and then just him giving those facial expressions, like, just confused, upset because he doesn't need the help,
Uh-huh.
and looking at Cobb like, me and you got history on the indies, or on a different promotion, so that,
Uh-huh.
I didn't forget. Um, but yeah, no, that was a great ending, and you're right about the whole Bloodline 2.0. They're kind of fizzling out. It feels a little thin, especially because two of their guys are on the shelf right now. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, if they're trying to keep it alive, bro, what a way to keep it alive! And shout out to Cobb, bro, Island boy, like we were saying earlier, he's a
Yes, sir.
Filipino boy, and he's also raised in Guam, and
Yep.
then he's moved to Hawaii for a little bit, from where we're from, the 808 state,
Yes,
and then
sir.
moved back to Guam for a little bit. And we'd love to have him on the show if WWE would allow it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're manifesting it. So,
Manifesting.
yeah. So, Mr. Cobb, at any point you want to jump on this show, we would love to have you here.
We'd love to have you here.
But nonetheless, that was it was a nice opener to the PLE. Clearly the result was expected, but not the way we anticipated it. So, going into the second match, though, this was kind of a shocker. So for the women's IC title, champion Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. I think a lot of people were shooting for Becky to actually not upset, but to actually win the IC title here. Sure enough, we were all surprised because Lyra Valkyria actually regained it. It was a not too bad of a match. I think these two have really good chemistry in the ring. Granted, they've had their um run in NXT back then when Lyra actually defeated Becky for the NXT title, women's championship. But yeah, this match here, I think has kind of progressed the storyline here a bit. I actually like the ending because it just kind of showed again like how Becky's heel turn got emphasized a little bit more of her not being happy with the result of it, really taking it to another level and showing her degree of violence that she was able to carry out on Lyra. At the same time, well, I'm not exactly sure if Lyra's gonna be kind of off TV for a little bit, not for like a long time, but just to kind of, I guess, show a little bit more of the importance, or not the importance, but like the emphasis of how Becky's attack was on her. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this kind of pans out. Thoughts on your end, Nick?
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought the match was pretty decent. It was not bad. I really was shocked at the end. The ending really shocked me. Like that pin kind of came out of nowhere. Not really
Uh-huh.
how I expected it.
Uh-huh.
Um, I don't know if the whole broken nose thing is real. Could be.
Um,
I
it
think that
seemed like she did, and obviously was not intentional.
no, yeah, no, I think it
Yeah,
was because I was looking at her
yeah.
nose, and it did look kind of crooked. It looked a little swollen.
Uh-huh.
Like the very beginnings of a broken nose. They
Uh-huh.
were saying that you could also see blood like streaming out of her nose at one point when it first got hit. I didn't see it personally.
Uh-huh.
But dude, if she's got a broken nose, I mean, prayers for her. Hopefully she
Yeah.
heals quickly so she can come back.
Uh-huh.
Um, in our last podcast, I remember saying that I was starting to open up to the fact, well, not the fact, but the chance that Becky could probably beat Lyra, and that maybe I was a little closed minded on hoping that Becky wouldn't squash Lyra.
Uh-huh.
But when I thought about it in the long run, I was getting a little more open to Becky beating Lyra so that it would open it up for a longer, better story, which would probably elevate Lyra. Um, the match made Lyra look good.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it boosted her too much, but I hope she continues the story with Becky. At least until Becky ends up feuding with Bailey.
I think so too, and I think it did elevate Lyra because she beat her clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was no outside interference by anybody, and at the same time, yeah, it was a kind of a surprise pin, not necessarily like a pin after her own finisher. And it's kind of a rare case these days to see these kind of finishes, especially when it's like a big name like Becky taking that kind of pin to kind of an up and comer such as Lyra. So I really do think they're probably saving the win for Becky when they're ready to pretty much go into that whole Bailey Becky feud. And that makes sense, you know, and I think they might kind of time it for SummerSlam just because that would be like a nice like a big match. Um Now that SummerSlam's also a two-nighter, I think that's a nice way
Right.
of kind of like having like a nice nice match for the PLE. Or if not mistaken, I think the women's revolution or evolution is, which one is it again?
Evolution.
Evolution, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, like the
evolution.
second one that's rumored to. I don't know if they even confirmed it, but yeah, that's approaching us as well. So we could eventually see those two actually face each other around that time too. So we got a lot of options, I would say, in terms of like their rivalry to kind of like get going. Um, Outside of that, the other Intercontinental Championship matchup between Dominik Mysterio and Penta. So this was a cool match too, just because I think over the past few weeks we've noticed the ring chemistry just getting much better with both Penta and Dominic. I gotta say this, Dominic's definitely come a long way in terms of in-ring skill set.
I agree.
Uh, like it's just kind of crazy to see his progression in such like I don't want to say short time, but I think because when I was watching him very early in his career, specifically when he started with WWE and he was kind of partnered with his dad, he was in so many tag matches. Like even if you think about like his time during Judgment Day, he was also in a decent amount of tag team matches. And now I'm seeing him as a singles competitor a little bit more now, especially because he's the IC champion. I'm really impressed with his development, and you know, like there's a lot of people that are really talking about how he has such a bright future, and I will say now it's a lot more evident that he has such a high ceiling, and not just carrying the Mysterio name, but dude's on his way, and I got to give him props because at the same time, you're working with somebody like Penta, who is no joke, a very, very skilled, athletic luchador and wrestler for that matter. And they show out, and I can honestly say, like, since Penta has debuted with WWE, I know I've said that I'm a big fan of his. I've continued to grow as a fan, but the guy really is relishing his time here at WWE. And you can tell, you could just tell, like, just in the first few months that he's been around, he's definitely relished his time and really made a prominent name for himself on the Raw roster. Um, I definitely hope for the best also for Ray Phoenix, being on the SmackDown brand. But nonetheless, uh, the result of this match, I think we both said Dominic was going to win, which he ended up doing so. But it was a nice, interesting way of how he did it because, yeah, like I hate to see Penta taking a lot of L's lately, especially because it's like,
I
oh man,
agree.
he was on like such a hot streak, but lately he's been taking L's. This L though I didn't mind because clearly it was interference from El Grande Americano, the great American luchador, who we still don't happen to know who is under that mask,
It's
apparently.
almost, bro. It's almost.
But I guess we're gonna have to find out shortly. I think they're supposedly gonna have a match down the line where I saw a rumor it could potentially be a mask versus mask type of match. So we could eventually find out who he is.
Dude, you know what? I'm actually down for that kind of match. I am totally down for that. You're absolutely right, dude. I've not been a fan of the L's that Penta's been taking recently, but if this was a nice way of getting Penta to lose without having him take the loss clean,
Yeah.
right? This was a perfect way to set it up so that down the road is going to lead to Penta versus Grande. I keep forgetting his name because Joe's saying it like 100 different ways in the other podcast, and I keep forgetting his name.
Ariana
Ariana
Grande,
Grande. Yeah,
Americano
yeah,
Frappuccino.
exactly. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I'm totally down for that match, and if it results in almost finally getting his mask taken off and showing who he really is, you know, that'll be a great match. Dude, and you know what? The longer we do our podcast, the more wrestling stuff pops up in my feeds, regardless of what social media platform I'm on, whether it be Facebook, um, Instagram, YouTube, especially in YouTube, dude. And you know what? I'm really glad that everybody's like accepting Dom as the Intercontinental Champion. Um, I'm just seeing a lot of love, dude. And there was a couple of videos I seen too. Like one was like why Dominik like deserves this title and all this other stuff. So there's just
Uh,
there's a lot of love going around. And you know what? I think part of it too, after his Intercontinental Championship, why we've been enjoying his matches more, I think it's because they've finally taken the cuffs off as far as his wrestling style, because he was always like that little cowardly little boy kind of act right before. So I
yeah.
mean now it's just he's fighting for the championship, and they've finally taken the cuffs off of him, and he's actually wrestling,
Uh-huh.
and it doesn't hurt that Penta matches his style, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
Penta made Dom look good too, and then yeah. So I mean, yeah, overall that was a good match. I'm glad Dom is still the champ.
You know, it's interesting too. Dominic doesn't really wrestle a full lucha style,
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
but he does kind of like fall in line with like the, cruiserweight, so to speak, right? So he can do like a little bit the high flyer like move set, and at the same time kind of mix into the whole lucha style. So it's
Would
it's
it
nice. It's kind of
would it
nice.
be fair to say it's a Tex-Mex?
True, but the dude's from San Diego, so
Yeah, not true, true.
which I personally think they have better Mexican food there than Texas Tex-Mex style.
Tex-Mex.
Yeah. But going into the next match, we had also this was an interesting one. Clearly there was a nice little story built to this, but the match between Gunther and Pat McAfee. So of course, Pat McAfee jumping in to kind of defend his broadcast partner Michael Cole here, specifically because Gunther had confronted both of them post Mania, um, taking out McAfee. McAfee cut some pretty good promos after that situation that went down. They had a little face off, I believe, the Raw before Backlash. And yeah, this wasn't a bad match either. I think it was just kind of what we expected. Gunther was just gonna put a beat down. McAfee kind of held his own for a bit, but nothing more nonetheless. It was a nice match. Just to kind of be an in betweener between, I guess, storylines and for the PLE itself. I think we're both talking about how, like this would how this would kind of like progress in terms of both of them, right? So um McAfee seems to still be on I guess on broadcast, and seems like Gunther's going back after the world heavyweight championship.
Right.
Yeah, so what do you kind of see going on after this here?
Um okay, so I was kind of this match I was kind of I mean, for what I knew what it was. I knew what it was, and it was just one of those matches. It was for entertainment.
Uh-huh.
But I know Gunther couldn't give his 100% because it's Pat McAfee, right? He's
Uh,
an announcer. He's not an in-ring performer. So he couldn't give like his 100%. He fucking I mean, he wouldn't kill Pat McAfee, but I mean, he definitely wouldn't be able to go like how he would be able to go with like a Drew McIntyre
oh
or
no,
a
not at
Sheamus. You know what I Yeah. Like so I mean,
no ways.
because I felt like when I was watching the match, I felt like Gunther was purposely dragging his feet to try and like give McAfee his spots and all that stuff. Um, but
He
other than
just
that,
he
yeah,
pulled back a lot of
yeah,
punches,
you know,
right?
he it felt like he was pulling. Yes, exactly. It felt like he was pulling back a lot of punches to make sure that the match got through.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I will admit, when you look at it from, if you're just looking at it from a pure entertainment perspective, it was okay. It was okay. Pat McAfee had some nice spots. Some spots I thought he was going to come back. Um, but overall, not bad.
Yeah.
Uh, I know that there's some people online that wasn't a fan of Gunther giving Pat McAfee the whole nod at the end.
Yeah,
I,
that was
I
interesting.
yeah, I mean,
That was interesting
to me, it's
because
whatever. Whatever.
yeah, because it is a little of a head scratcher. Only because does it make us start to think like, oh, is Gunther gonna turn face or
Yeah, exactly. That's a face move.
was he really genuinely giving him the nod? Like, was he kind of breaking kayfabe here for a
Right.
second, or breaking character? It is kind of interesting, especially because they had it shown on TV as well.
Right.
How does this tie into a storyline? I have no clue. Like, I don't. I don't see how you progress a storyline with the announcers.
Nah, and
Um,
you know what, dude? Like I totally get where people are coming out and not agreeing with him doing that, especially after that promo he cut right before the PLE. I mean,
uh-huh.
Gunther gave it to him. He was like, I'm going to give you my 100% undivided attention. No, I'm going to hurt you and everything. Just the way he cut that was a real heelish promo. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I get it why people are not a fan of what he did, but I mean,
yeah. It's like I was just confused.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, it was
not really.
confusing more than
Yeah,
anything.
not really for me to like say I didn't like it. It was just confusing.
Yeah,
Like if there's a payoff to it, sure, but I honestly don't see I don't see anything happening after that.
right.
But and even going back to what you're saying, I kept my expectations pretty low. I wasn't gonna expect the world out of McAfee. We
Yeah,
know what Gunther can do, but
right.
it's also conducive of who he's in the ring with, right? And I think a lot of times you have to gauge what type of wrestling match he's gonna have depending on who's he actually facing.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, we know what McAfee has done in the past and who he's faced. He's not to say he's not athletic. It's just Gunther he wrestles kind of that hard nosed style wrestling. He's gonna
Yep.
hit you, slap you around, slam you. He's he's not a finesse wrestler. That's for sure. And
Definitely
I
not a
think
finesse wrestler.
yeah, and I think McAfee's had his go rounds with finesse style wrestlers in the past, and it looked good. It looked okay. But yeah, when you're clashing with a Gunther, this guy's this guy's all power, man. All meat at the end
Yep.
of the day. He's gonna wrestle and grind you down. So yeah, so it was what I was expecting. Um and then of course we had the final match, the main event, undisputed WWE championship on the line with the champion John Cena versus Randy Orton. So I really enjoyed the hype behind this, only because as an old school fan, or even if you're just a fan of watching these two come up in the industry, clearly both from WWE, Randy carrying his Orton name, um, Cena, coming up being in from the indies, and it also like took me back to the fact, like, I know that people were kind of like bringing all these clips of them back in OVW and all that stuff, but I even remember like Cena back in the day. Did you ever like recall watching? There was that one show on MTV. I think it was called True Life. I'm a pro
I re-
wrestler, or something like that.
I
Do you remember
remember the
that?
show True. I remember the show True Life. I don't remember that specific
So
episode or series or whatever it was.
it was either that show or another show on MTV. Somebody could correct me on this, but I remember John Cena back in the day was actually on that show before he even became big or even made his debut with WWE. And the dude was like that, that prototype character. You remember
Right.
that one?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do.
So he had that spiky blonde, kind of like Stinger, like old school, like Venice Beach Stinger,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And dude, man, like it just kind of took me back to just think like because they've been in the industry for nearly 20 years and they had a rivalry that kind of paralleled each other's progression. And and if sometimes it's kind of crazy to think because Cena has won 17, you don't take into consideration how many times Randy's actually been champion as well. It's not that far off. And I think in the past we talked like, on the past episodes, like, do we think Randy's gonna break the record? Probably not.
Nah. Nah.
But it's just crazy to think because he's not that far off. He's literally 3 title wins away, if you think about it, which is not much, you know? And it's just again like the build behind their career, the rivalry, it made it special. And I think because you're adding also the extra element, this is Cena's last year. This is the final time that they're gonna face each other. So it is kind of like it is special in that aspect. So there's a lot of narrative behind this that makes it feel like worth watching. And they didn't disappoint. I I think, like clearly they're not the young guns that they used to be back in the day, but they showed out and they told a story that really took all of their backstory and, you know, just everything that we know about these two and really put it into this one match. And that's what made it so special. And obviously, the result, I didn't think anybody thought Randy was going to win it. Cena, clearly, we got the heel Cena version, won it in heel fashion. Your thoughts on that one?
It was a fun match. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed it. Um, the when John Cena went to shake Randy's hand in the beginning, so it was 25 years, and then he went for the handshake. I was like, dude, I saw the eye poke coming. I knew it was coming. And then Randy shook his hand, did the eye poke, and then they did their whole little thing right there. And then Randy came back with the eye poke. I was like, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And no, yeah, I did enjoy the match. Um, I like how towards the end where all the referees are getting knocked out and then everybody came out and then everybody caught an RKO and I thought that was fun. Um, I've also
Just like
been hearing,
Oprah, right? Just handing them
yeah,
out.
yeah, exactly, bro.
You
You
get an
get an
RKO,
RKO.
you get an RKO, you get an RKO.
Yeah, so it was that was a fun little segment. I've also been hearing rumblings online about Nick Aldis maybe
Yeah.
stepping in the ring.
You just took the words out of my mouth. Because I'm
This
like, how many RKOs can this guy take and not do something about it?
Well, I mean, technically, Randy's already paid for all of them but one,
Right.
right? Right? This
Right.
the
So
the, the
it's like at this point though, it's just like you can't take any more.
yeah, yeah.
And there's gotta be like some sort of retaliation on his end. He's gotta defend himself at some point. And
So I mean,
so
and and
yeah.
and and we all know that Nick Aldis wrestled before.
Hey,
He's in great
Nick
shape.
can go, man.
That's
Like
what
I
I'm
want
saying.
people, go watch his, matches, NWA and New Japan. He can go.
Yeah, and
Not a lot of
that's the
people don't
thing too.
know him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was one of those people that I didn't know Nick Aldis was a wrestler prior to this, so I went and watched
Really?
some of it. Yeah, I didn't. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Um I think by the time I really started paying attention to Nick Aldis, he was already the general manager.
Mhm.
So I actually went and looked up some of his prior matches. Bro, he can go. He can
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, why not? Let's have a run. And you know what? Right there. That's a perfect match to have at SummerSlam. Another match for SummerSlam. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Nick
Yeah.
Aldis versus Randy Orton. I think they'd put on a good match. But
Yeah, I think so too.
yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think anybody thought that Randy was gonna win. I mean, we could hope, but yeah, I don't think anybody thought Randy was gonna win. It's way too early for Cena to be losing that championship, and I think it would have, like, if Cena had lost the championship tonight, it just would have totally like took all the win out of the sails for his final run. So yeah, nah, I'm here
Yeah.
for that ride. We're on it. We might as well go the distance.
Yeah.
Where Randy goes after this, who knows? Where Cena goes after this, I don't know. Who do you think he's gonna fight next? Ooh, you know what? You know what? Okay. So this is something I've been thinking about.
Uh-huh.
Because technically Punk is on Raw,
Yeah.
right? So this is something I've been thinking about. Another one of my crazy ideas.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so see, we all know that Punk has been one of John Cena's biggest like rivals. He's been very outspoken on how John Cena handled his business during his heyday and everything, and how he liked to push people down. And he's been very, if not the biggest outspoken person against John Cena. And I know they're in a different place now, but hear me out. For nostalgia's sake, for nostalgia's sake, how's about we have CM Punk? Don't give him the match yet. How's about we have CM Punk win Money in the Bank?
Thank you.
Have him win Money in the Bank.
Thank you.
Have Cena's final match be against Cody Rhodes. Let Cody Rhodes be our final beacon. Let Cody Rhodes be our final beacon against John Cena to take that belt home. Have Cody lose. Have everybody think that John Cena is gonna leave. Have CM Punk come out, cash in the Money in the Bank, take the title, and pull the same thing that he did the last time when his contract was about to expire. Grab that belt, jump on the barricade, blow the kiss, and just dig out. Bro, come on.
Wow. You would really do that to Cena and his way
Damn
out.
right I would do that to Cena. You damn right I would. And you know what? This is I'm bringing up ill feelings because he pushed down one of my favorite guys back in the mid 2000s, Wade Barrett. I love the Nexus, bro. The Nexus, I was a huge Nexus fan, and he squashed them, dude, and I was not a fan of that.
Oh man. So yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I I like where you were going with this. I do share the same sentiment. I feel like the next one up should be CM Punk. I do think he should win Money in the Bank, but I don't know if I would give him a a successful cash in. That's what I'm thinking, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because how should I say this? I think Cena would technically hold that belt all the way to the very end, where I still kind of stick to my guns here when I said that I believe we'll get a heel Cody, and it's going to be at the expense of him joining forces with The Rock, beating and turning, basically all of them turning on Cena, kind of having that whole long-term build-up. But in between all of this, I do see, obviously, we're going to have a CM Punk John Cena match.
Has to happen.
It's only suiting, like the stars of a line. CM Punk coming back to WWE. Cena's on the way out. One of the best rivalries I ever seen, and probably one of the best rivalries Cena's ever had. Probably even for Punk. Yeah, they got to run him back, and I think it's gonna come at the expense of CM Punk winning the Money in the Bank. Because again, it does make sense. He's on Raw. How do you go after the undisputed title if you're on Raw? That's the way to do it. I don't see CM Punk cashing in on Jay. If you want to think about it this way, right? So it's almost clear like Cena would actually, or I'm sorry, CM Punk would actually use the Money in the Bank to cash in on Cena. But I think he would actually do it kind of similar to how Rob Van Dam did it. He would challenge him, tell him, I'm going to cash in my Money in the Bank, but I'm going to cash in at this pay-per-view. Maybe, or, oh, you see, you got me. I just said pay-per-view. It happened to me once.
Got him.
Got him. So, PLE. Maybe this is a setup to PLE for a PLE match. Maybe SummerSlam. Maybe for Saudi. I don't know. Maybe Saudi is probably gonna be the spot for it, right? Because that's a big match right there.
Oh,
And
and
maybe they're probably paying top dollar for that one. You know what I mean?
I think I was watching Wrestle Talk and they said CM Punk is confirmed to be going
At
to
Saudi.
going to Crown Jewel. So it's Crown Jewel,
Yeah.
right? That's gonna happen over there.
I don't know if it's Crown Jewel or what's the other one that they do? Is it just Crown Jewel?
I think it's Crown Jewel.
Okay.
I mean,
'Cause
I
I
could
thought-
be wrong, but I know CM Punk's gonna be going to Saudi.
Because I think like if I'm not mistaken, I thought Crown Jewel's going to be at Australia this year.
Oh, could be. I'm not sure.
I'll be wrong.
Yeah, but hey, dude, you know what? I respect you for your conviction in your story of Cody going heel.
I feel like that's the way to go.
You think that's the way to? You know what?
Like
Hey,
how long have we had Cody in WWE now?
3 years.
Has it been 3 years? 3, 4? Yeah, no, it's. I think it's
about 4
a
years.
long
3,
time.
4 years. Yeah,
I think it's a long time. And like this is my train of thought, also, right? This is my train of thought. Merchandise. I think merchandise has always been like one of the big things for WWE, right?
right.
And I think for the longest time, they never wanted Roman to ever turn heel because of his merch sales. Very similar to John Cena. But the odd thing is, if you think about it, when these two went heel, they still had top 5 merchandise sales.
Yeah, I'm almost certain that Roman Reigns is the one who went through the roof when he went heel.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just like, does Cody's merch take a hit? I don't think so. I think they're less likely to refrain from doing these babyface heel turns if they see dollar signs with, the merch. At the same time, I know Cody can be a good heel. We've seen him be a heel, and I don't know if anybody's ever watched him in New Japan as a heel. Like he can do it, and I'm all for it because there's also that element of people comparing him to being like Homelander. If that's kind of heel Cody we're gonna get, then hey, sign me up.
I'm telling you, bro, that Clash of Clans commercial was the foreshadowing, dude.
Yeah,
I'm telling
exactly.
you. Hey, and you know what? I just want to throw this out there for the folks watching at home. One of the reasons I really enjoy talking wrestling with my man Jojo here is because we always, this is between the boys, we always make this joke that Jojo is secretly working for the WWE. We're like,
I got
we like
Papa H on speed dial.
Exactly. Like, dude, like, I mean, I shit you not. The stories like that he's called out like things that happened months in advance. And we're like, no, maybe it'll go this way, maybe it'll go that way. And he's like, no, maybe it'll go like this. And then like months ahead, it'll happen. And we're like, dude, at a certain point, we're like, okay, starting to question, are you really working for WWE? Are you not telling us something? But yeah, dude, I mean, hey, I gotta give props for props is due, Jojo, bro. If this heel Cody thing happens, I will never doubt anything you ever predict again.
It'll be kind of wild, right?
It would be wild, but I'm here for it.
Hey, I'm not gonna say I'm always 100% correct, but like the way we called Cena heel turn, the way we called it,
Yeah.
it's not like It's not like, okay, we all knew he was going to turn heel.
Right.
There's a lot of people that said, oh, he's going to turn heel. But the way we called it days before it actually went down, that to me is like a testament as to how I kind of see things, you know? And interesting enough, it was like, I don't know, anybody wants to go watch back that episode and see how we called it, go watch it. That's exactly what we're talking about. And it's funny too, because if we want to go back a little bit further, remember we were talking about The Rock coming back at this as a heel, and I was like adamant about like, man, we if Rock's gonna be heel, he's gotta have his Hollywood Rock theme, and he's gotta come with like this final boss approach.
Bro, you called it, bro.
And then yeah, I kid you not, right? It was like what, like weeks before he freaking called himself this final boss. We're like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Like, holy shit. That was wild.
You legit called the final boss name. I don't know. I don't know if that was on our podcast or if it was on our like.
No, we didn't have the podcast. We're just texting.
It was on our text feed, right?
We're just texting. It's just wild. Like we're just like shooting the shit, and we're like, damn, how crazy is that? Wait, that's the power of manifestation right there.
Manifestation, bro.
So you know, we're gonna continue to do it as much as we can, and hopefully some of these things, you know, come to fruition. But
that's the true wrestling fans in us, bro. The true wrestling fans.
But hey, at the same time, I still like being a fan.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
There's a part of it like I don't like predicting stuff. If it does, it does. But at the same time, I like to still be surprised.
Right. You know, what I think also adds to the element of not just us, but a lot of folks that watch wrestling who like to like predict what happens. Part of that element is that WWE they've been pulling off a lot of swerves, and it makes it even more fun when you like now you're adamant like this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. There's no way that this ain't gonna happen. But then, you know, you're looking at these two different routes that they can go, and you're like, nah, it's gotta be this one. No, it's gotta be that. It's gotta be one of these two. And then they come from left field. You know what I mean? They pull a totally different swerve. Something that you wouldn't see coming at all. And I think that's something that they've been getting right a lot recently, and has made WWE so good, not just to people, not just to like content creators like us or content creators on the web, not just to people in the IWC, but just wrestling fans in general, people who love to watch wrestling, regardless of who you watch, who you like, who you don't like. It's just, I think that's something they've been getting right, and something that has been drawing in returning fans and new fans. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I kid you not, dude. I kid you not. Like, my youngest child has been playing WWE 2K25 nonstop. And he was on my computer earlier today, and he made his own created character.
Nice.
Shout out to Obafemi, because he made his character like Obafemi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then what was so funny is because I was doing something else, and then he had set up a tornado 2-on-1 tornado tag match.
Okay.
So like his character came out, and then I hear Jey Uso's character coming out, and then I turn and I look at him, and he's over there, but he's just yeeting along with the game, and it was so cool. I was like, man,
that's so dope.
Yeah, and you know, he was telling me, he was like, Dad, I want to go to one of these. I was like, you know, one day, son, we definitely will go there one day.
That's dope.
Also, manifesting that, WWE, hurry up and come back to Hawaii, dude. I know it's expensive to come down here, but come on, man, come back to Hawaii.
Hey, why are you waiting? You can come here.
Bro, honestly, the price of the tickets for the event is actually cheaper than the flights, bro.
You make it work, make it happen.
I know.
You can do it. I believe in it. Hey man, but nonetheless, fun episode as always. Enjoyed it. Definitely looking forward to next few weeks. I'm kind of even losing track. Like, what's the next PLE? Is it Money in the Bank already?
I'm not too sure, honestly. I don't have they even advertised the next one yet?
I
I don't think
believe
they
so.
have, huh?
Well, it is in June. We're like
Yeah,
literally, I want to say 3 weeks away.
gotta be.
Um, and we just got our tickets, so it's coming up. So I would assume that we're gonna start seeing some Money in the Bank qualifiers shortly on like Raw and SmackDown.
There would have to be.
Yeah, how cool would it be if they actually had some NXT people involved? Change
Why
things
not?
up, right?
Why not?
That would be
Dude,
dope.
yeah. Oh, I mean, put Julia and Roxanne in the women's one.
Oh,
Why not?
at least one
At
for that
least one
matter,
of
right?
them. Yeah, at least
Yeah.
one of them.
But I
I
feel like
think.
those two are already kind of part of the Raw roster if you think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
They've been there. They've been on the show enough to kind of pretty much be part of the show or part of the roster, I would say.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I think I don't know. Yeah, both. I mean, either one would be good, but
yeah,
preferably, I think I would like to see Julia. I think Julia would do really good in that match.
yeah. I think, yeah, but you can't even doubt Roxy. Like she's just so good.
No,
You
there's
know, like
no doubting there. It's just
yeah, like
I don't
she's
know,
good.
dude. I think
Yeah,
they both be good.
yeah. Well, that'll be fun. Having both of them, but yeah, that's gonna be a fun show. Like that's coming up. We also got NXT Worlds Collide debut of AAA.
Are they going to be
Um,
showing that on PLE?
It's actually the same day. They're going to be at the Forum right before Money in the Bank. So that's going
Oh,
to
okay.
be it's like an all day wrestling show right there. So
That's tough.
yeah. So I'm excited. You know, I was able to do the whole four-day Mania weekend. So this is nothing compared
It's
to
a cake.
that.
It's a cakewalk compared
It's
to that, huh?
cakewalk.
Yeah.
Literally, a cakewalk is like walking from one side to the other side. Outside of like Vegas, you're catching Ubers left and right, going from T-Mobile to Allegiant and whatnot. So this is gonna be much easier to go back and forth. So nonetheless, we got the boys, Jay and Cuzzo. Shout out, fellas. Yeah, I know you guys haven't been on the show lately, but I'm actually going to the show with those two guys. So yeah, it's gonna be a good old time. But yeah,
Yeah, and hey, you know what? And if if you guys have some time, dude, and this is for our audience, that maybe we can make some time if you guys are done after the event or maybe the day after, since
yeah.
everybody's going to be together, we can do maybe a live podcast or something. You know what I mean,
Oh,
on
that'd be
YouTube.
nice. Yeah.
I think we've hit enough people that we can do a live, so maybe we'll try doing that.
Oh,
And
that'd
then
be dope.
yeah, why not?
Yeah. But nonetheless, yeah, we appreciate everybody. Again, thank you. All our subscribers, all the followers, continue to support us, subscribe, hit the likes. We appreciate you all. Continue to engage, and we definitely like to talk back and forth and go back and forth with some banter and all that stuff too. Nonetheless, we appreciate you all, and we out.